Good afternoon. It is July 27th, 2022, and I'm going to start today like Mac does, and I'm going to look at the daily chart real quick. So, uh, I've been looking at it like this for the past several weeks. I know Mac is looking at it differently. I think he starts his channel right here, but this is how I've been looking at it, and I do think it's valid. I mean, no matter how you look at it, there's validity to so many different ways, but here's how I've been looking at it. And so I do like the range that he has drawn. I think something like this, and that's why it bounced yesterday. It had that small bounce yesterday, and it's bouncing today. And what I'm thinking is, if this is an overshoot, which I mean, the lows of this channel are definitely, like, they've been confirmed, for months now. So mid-March, late March, or late February. So if I mean, all I'm trying to say is this overshoot could lead to a breakup this way. Now, I do believe that I was just looking at it again, and I do think that this is the highs, but the highs could be down here too. From this swing high. Because the midline, it still looks accurate, but I was just looking at this, and I think this is a little more accurate. You can see prices gap up right here. They gap over that midline, and then what was I seeing? Something, I think it was like something in here that was making me. I mean, it just looks valid, very accurate. Who knows what this gap down was about, but anyway, let's take a look at this chart. So there were a few good trades in here today. To be honest, for me, looking at this chart at the end of the day, I think this was one of those days where, even though the trend is strong up, there weren't that many good entries, or at least the way I was seeing it. I'm sure we'll watch Mac's video later and there will be a lot more entries, but I think there was like an FOMC hearing around this time. I think it was 2:30, and that's what caused all this volatility and eventually sent it skyrocketing. But I don't think there was many good entries. You can see we're in a downtrend right now, but there was a good second entry up here. And what I did notice just now is this is a spike in channel from yesterday after the close. I would think that's after the close anyway. And I think what we're looking at today is something like this, a channel like this, where the midline is actually up here. And you can see that the midline here, that midline is coming into play up here. So I do think that is probably, that's probably something. But it doesn't really matter, because you got to play these short-term channels anyway. So anyway, in the overnight, it looked like maybe we were going to be ranging. We did have this spike, and it did kind of look like a spike in channel. I had it drawn like this at first. And so when that broke and you get like a failure above the EMA, that breaks it below the EMA. And then you get a first entry failed, second entry right here. You might consider that, but these are all inside this bar. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars stacked up. So that's probably not the best idea, but it does confirm this channel. So there's reasons to consider it. It's a lower high. We just made a lower low. So there's reasons to think about that. But look how congested that is. We end up breaking into this range up here. Matter of fact, I'm looking at this second entry. And if you are thinking, I'm probably going to mark this green because there's not a whole lot of room to these highs. And this kind of looks like let me delete this so we can see easier. This kind of looks like a failed breakout. And that looks like a breakout pullback, second entry long. So I do like this, especially it closes just above the EMA. So I do like that, but there's reasons to sit out of that one. And then we form this range, and there's just nothing in there. And then at this point, you don't have confirmation of this channel yet. We just get a second touch. Confirmation comes up here. So looking at this, we have this range. We bounce here, and then we start going higher. And so you can see there's a lot of price acceptance in here. And then all of a sudden we get some right after the opening. So that makes sense. We get some rejection. It comes down here, rockets up, hits the EMA, finds some resistance, comes back down here, and you make a double bottom, and then it just flies higher. And so I would look at this as a failure up here. But I'm not too sure if you can take that. You wouldn't have had this trend line by then, so I'm just not crazy about it. And then we get confirmation up here, and that's just the first entry. It looks like a hidden second entry, but okay, that's a new high. So I mean, it's just the first. This is just the first entry. You just can't take that unless you're taking a hidden second entry, and in which case, I mean, it would have worked out, but it doesn't show up on our chart. So the failure comes right here. However, I marked it blue. I'm going to mark it green. Failure comes right here, but look, we didn't hit the top of the channel after this swing. So you got to be careful, and it led to all this congestion. And you can't take anything in there. It's way too congestive. You might consider this double test right here. It's really a triple test, but all these dojis, I don't like that. Breakout to the high side, it fails. Breakout to the low side. Then you get this higher low. That's also a second entry long. And that's like 40 minutes after the open. That's a good entry. When it closes above the EMA, it's also like I was going to say breakout pullback, but it's in the range, so it's not a breakout pullback. But we just got confirmation of this channel, so if you had that drawn, you're looking to go long. I mean, we're making new highs, so I like this to test the top of the range, and it goes a little higher. And then we form this range, or at least this is how I saw it. Really, in real time, you might just move your range highs to here, but I think this range, these highs are up here. So I'm looking at it like this, and there's not a whole lot in here. The reason you can't take this second entry long, these are all inside bars. These are 3 dojis in a row. We just went below the EMA, so that's one reason not to like it. We went below the EMA here, but if you have all this context, such as confirmation of the trend channel or making these new highs, there's more reason. This isn't a doji. That body is big enough to not make it a doji. This one's a doji, but it's a bullish doji. These are all dojis. So come down here, bounce off the trend channel again. You make a higher low. This would have trapped you. Well, we got a doji here, and the signal bar is a doji too. So this fails for the same reason this fails. And look at that. They're both above the midline of the range, or at least what I was seeing as the range. So with all these inside bars, I don't think you want to take this failure either. First entry, failed second entry. You can see a lot of people like that, though. A lot of people like that because it's sent to skyrocketing. But, I mean, I can see why a lot of people would get trapped right here. Uh, First entry, second entry. This looks like one leg of correction. This doesn't look like a second leg of correction. Also, these are pretty much all inside bars of this. You can see it broke out to the low side a bit here, but it's just congestive. Bounce off the trend channel again. First entry failed, second entry again. I just don't like these signal bars. There's so much stem on these bars. I think you're just better off sitting out. I didn't see anything in here. And again, these are very congestive. You can see it's an uptrend, but it's very congestive. And then we get this correction, this leg of correction. This is a very nice leg of correction, or at least it looks like it. I like this. It's a very clear channel down. So when you get this first entry, second entry, let's see, where's the data box? Is that this? Properties, data box. This is a 5-tick signal bar. I think this is worth the risk. Second entry short, we just had a clear channel down. Let's see, is it turning down? Yeah, I mean, we're in an uptrend, but this looks like this, although this and this aren't clear breaks of this trend channel up, they do look like close outside. So, I think there's reasons to take this second entry short. Then we make this higher low, and at that point, I'm not trying to go short. I think that's a second entry, though, technically. And then, anyway, the news item was coming out, so you want to sit tight anyway. And that's what led to all this volatility. This all looks way too crazy. Probably up here is when it slows down a little, and you don't get it. Unfortunately, you don't get a good setup for a second entry long. This is your signal bar. It's a doji. This looks like a range, but we're moving higher. This kind of looks like a second entry, but it's not a great setup. I mean, this is a double top, so really the count would reset. This is a new low. And then we just chop around until we get a break. First entry, second entry, not a good signal bar. And maybe, I mean, I've looked at this before, stuff like this as like a double top, even though this is clearly a new high. Sometimes I've looked at it and I look at that as like, this is like a double top or like a matching high. So, I mean, maybe you look at that first entry, second entry, but even still, we don't get a new low to go long on. So, here's how I viewed it is this kind of flat upward channel after the break. I do think it's valid, and you can see prices bouncing very close to that midline. So I'll go through the price action, but we get this strong leg up. This is all too far from the EMA. We break lower. We get a quick like triple test down here, but it's just not. I mean, this one doesn't trigger. I would understand people trying to go long on that. Just looks like a very bullish signal bar. It's a higher low, but unfortunately, it just doesn't trigger. So it comes up higher. We're hitting this level of resistance. First entry, second entry. You might take that, but this looks like a range. So you got to be careful. And this looks like a double top. This doesn't look, this doesn't look like a lower high. to me. Even though it is, it really just looks like a double top. Then we make a new high, and you get a first entry, second entry, and with a signal bar that good, let's see if this one works. And let's try and think 24, 25. So this gets you a scalp, but that's it. 1 point scalp. So why does this one, because this one, to me, I took this no hesitation. So why should we sit out of this one? Because this still looks like it would be in what I was saying is the range, which is like right here. We just made a new high. We're consistently making lower highs. I'm about to pause the video and take a better look at this. One thing I'm seeing right now is how we made a new low right here. So you see this low, then we made a new low. And from this high, we made a lower high. So that could be one reason why you only get a 1 point scalp on this. Whereas here's a new low. We're making a higher low. From this high, we made a higher high, and this higher high is higher than this one. Could just be that this is also where a bunch of traders saw this flatter channel. But this is just really a really good signal bar. Plus, I mean, I think this lower low, lower high thing, I think that's why this might not be as good as this one. But not too sure. Honestly, in my opinion, this also just looks like more price rejection, whereas this one you see, you got a bunch of dojis and inside bars. To me, the range looks like it ends when we get this leg up. Even though this looks like a leg up, it looks like it's inside this move down, if that makes sense. So anyway, you get a higher low right here that's going into resistance. You don't want to take that. Failures right here, but too far from the EMA. Come up here, unfortunately, no entries in here, and really it looks like we got oh wow, this is a nice move down. Looks like we'll start this right here. Maybe. Yeah, I think this move starts right there. It's probably. So this could be an overshoot right here. We could be getting a break soon, but this is how I saw it today. And if you were trading up until the end of the day, let's take a look. See if there are any shorts in here, because this is a very nice trend down. Very nice. And I mean, honestly, you might take any good signal bar. This is one of those ones where you might take every good signal bar off the trend channel. So this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Let's see what happens here. Well, actually, I mean, we're not going to see what happens here. I should wrap it up. This is a 20-minute video. That might be the longest one I've ever done. So hope everyone had a good day today. I think I should be able to make another video tomorrow.